Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. Downton Abbey, episode 4 of the final season. Ben and Meredith. Hello. I saw 2 episodes, so forgive me if I do some overlapping last night, catching up. So this episode I thought was the strongest one.
Yeah.
I liked it quite a bit. You know, they've sort of been running in motion, and most of our drama is supposed to come from the hospital, and nobody cares. That's not that interesting. It's interesting only for the banter.
Yeah, I feel like they finally got to the heart of the hospital drama.
Yes, that's right.
Finally. So I liked it. It's, you know, everyone laid their cards on the table. There was some good drama surrounding it, but I think we're going to get to a resolution with that very soon.
It sounds like it, because also it sounds like Maggie Smith is folding
Yes.
a little bit, you know, and she did explain her point, which is that she's a true government-hating, Oregon-bound conservative. And we know where she'd end up if she were if the Dowager were in the States today, she'd be she'd be in Oregon. So but that was good, and that was a nice moment, and I like it when people treat each other with some degree of humanity.
Yeah.
And we saw that mostly with Mary and Edith. That was shocking.
Yeah, I think this episode was kind of great for all that all around. I mean, it was really nice to see Mary concede and give Edith that nod of, you know, you're doing well, you're doing right, and I appreciate you. And we definitely saw that, you know, at the lunch scene. I think that lunch scene was a much needed scene when the maid comes back and it's finally revealed her connection to everything.
I couldn't remember. I knew she was familiar, but I couldn't remember. And then you knew because Barrow was so contemptuous that he figured it out. But then that was a wonderful way to get Sybil back, because they never talk about this. Who was clearly she was the shining star.
She was the heart of the whole family. And I think, you know, to have that reminder, and I feel it really closed the book. They closed the chapter with having Tom come back into their lives, and they kind of set the place with Sybil right there in the open. We can set that to rest, and everyone was kind of reminded, you know, who we are and where we are in this family. And I think it gave Mary some peace. It gave Edith a little bit of, you know, standing that maybe they don't need to be at odds with each other. And it was nice to see that reflected in Tom as well, that he had married the right person.
Yeah, and it was a way of reminding them, us, the viewer, that he should be accepted back, because that was Sybil's choice. And obviously Sibby is part of Sybil. And then, as you say, it was also, you know, and you imagine that being that the surviving sisters, the sort of the whiny one, understandably.
Yeah.
And what's her name? Why am I?
Edith?
Edith, right. And then Mary, who's so, who's both, you know, dynamic and loathsome so often, but that they would both be like, what are we doing?
Yeah, we don't need to do
What are we doing?
We're grown women.
We're grown women, and our sister would want us to be friends to the extent, and you know, because they both were friends. So anyway, so that was nice. I did like that, but mostly Mary's comment to Edith. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah. But even then, when her aunt was kind of like, "Oh, that was nice of you," Mary conceded, "Well, you know, you have to play by the rules sometimes." Like, it's, you know, she still found a way to kind of remind everyone.
Yes.
But I think it came out of like a genuine, heartfelt place.
Yeah, and I think from a narrative standpoint, that was good. It wasn't they weren't beating us about the head with that.
Exactly.
Like Mary she did it. That was significant.
Yeah.
So now she's when someone points out that she was being nice, she's like, "Oh, I wasn't being nice," but she was.
But she was.
The fact is, she was. Yeah. So I suspect that we're headed for a Edith Mary resolution that is, you know, I don't think they're gonna vacation together.
But I think,
but a peaceful coexistence, also, which is going to be helped by what would appear to be, and it's, of course, you've seen them all. So this is you were in always one reason why you talk less here is because I know you're terribly afraid you're going to betray something.
But I can get really excited, because this is kind of the episode I was waiting for us to get into the meat of, because this is by far one of my favorite episodes of the season, if not of this, you know, and what happens after this. It's just, I felt like everything going up into this was a lot of, you know, anticlimactic preamble, and I felt this episode really gets back into the heart of Downton Abbey, and we get to see Lord Grantham, put Barrow in his place for what he did at that lunch scene. I mean, all this time with Barrow, like, why, you know, he wonders why everyone hates him, and he should know by now, you treat everyone like garbage, of course people are going to not want to be around you.
My wife and I had a discussion, because she was like, "Oh, I ache for him a little bit because he can't get out of his own way." Like, even when he thinks he's like, "Oh, look at me," pointing out that she's lying about this, then everyone is suddenly on the maid's side. And so, and she was like, "Don't you feel bad for him a little bit?" And I thought, I feel bad that he doesn't know how to behave around
Yeah.
people. But ultimately, he's just too cruel. I mean, he's so lucky he hasn't. I mean, they should have fired him ages ago.
I don't understand
and
why
no one should believe anything he says.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So
And I like that he's got this conscience in Baxter as opposed to who was the other one?
O'Brien.
Right, that
Yeah.
O'Brien was sort of, they would egg each other on. But Baxter's just like, oh, Tom, you poor dumb, like Cliff Robertson in 3 Days of the Condor. Tom, you poor dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah,
You've done more damage than you know.
Just give it a rest. So that was a nice nod. This episode had, we had police drama that didn't involve Anna and
Sergeant
Bates.
Willis.
Yes.
This guy is the luckiest actor in London. They keep writing dumb storylines and having him amble in and pulling up a chair and inexplicably have somebody else in the room so that there can be a conversation about it afterwards.
I want a Pink Panther reboot.
Why do you get to have somebody? Why do you get to have somebody else in the room?
I know.
She's not 9.
I know. I don't understand.
But they need to be able to. So
Yeah.
and and Mosley. Yeah, I mean Mosley and Baxter. That's nice. And Baxter, I don't know.
I feel like this is the season of love affairs. Everyone's going to get paired up with someone at the end of it. It's
right,
great.
because we met Edith's guy who's he was so ready to help at the magazine. That was the episode before. That was lovely. I was sort of hoping he'd come to the wedding, but they're not pushing it. But he's gonna be in London. She desperately needs to move to London to run that paper, and I like that she was the hiring a woman. That
was great.
All good stuff.
Now we have Mary and her new car guy.
That's right, and Mary and Danny Sullivan.
Yeah.
British Danny Sullivan.
Curious how that's going to play out given Mary's history with.
You can't have a second guy die in a car crash.
Right?
Yeah, too much.
It's not. I don't know, but I can see her hesitation, and I'm curious to see how that's going to play out.
And maybe if he loves her, maybe we get the moment of the.
I will give up my cars for you.
I won't give up the cars, but maybe I'll own them and other people will race them.
And then he starts the Formula One trend.
Right. Something like that.
Yeah.
And she, we see, and even with, and we see it with Daisy and Andrew.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, I want the country life, and ta-da.
Exactly. I'm glad, and I'm also really glad we got the resolution for Daisy and the father-in-law. I'm glad that's finally tabled.
That was getting a little annoying too.
Daisy this season has just gotten so.
Daisy, stop. Shut up. We're not on your side, and we're on. Here's how you turn everyone. We're all on your side theoretically.
Yeah.
But you're so unpleasant about it.
I know.
So that was a nice little moment that it. And I loved Elizabeth McGovern then. I feel like I just dodged something that was a nice.
Yeah, that was good.
That was nice. So here's what. Now this is clear. Now you know how this happens, but we are unquestionably set up for Robert's either death or being saved by some new procedure that is either done by a doctor from York or at York.
Yeah.
And Maggie Smith saying, "Okay, I got it." So that seems obvious, except for the terrible line of, "You'll probably go to his funeral," was in this.
Oh.
So that tells me that Robert's dead. And I know I'm talking to somebody who knows, but I'm now 56-44. Robert dies and is not saved by a surgery.
I'm just going to say, I haven't seen the Christmas special, so there actually is some stuff I don't know.
Okay, all right,
so
good.
I am curious to see how that wraps up.
I want to have one show where they have a guy grab his stomach and he just says it's indigestion for 4 days.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the doctor and it's just indigestion.
Yeah. Right?
And then a couple days later.
Yeah, he just has GERD.
He's fine. Yeah.
It's all that boozing. Yeah.
I'm fine. It wasn't a.
Exactly.
Are we missing anything?
I think the only other thing that I was really excited about was.
I'm sorry to lose Rose just because I liked
I
liked the
miss her.
Jewish part.
I know.
I liked I liked them. Robert has made progress as a human when he's not incompetent because he's turned things over to Mary.
Yeah.
Right? He's not making business decisions. And Mary made some hideous mistakes, doesn't she? She really doesn't get anything.
That's kind of why I'm glad Tom's back. I
Yeah.
think Tom and her are going to balance. That's what it is I'm excited Tom's back. I don't think Tom is going to take away from Mary running the estate. I think really they're going to find a nice balance with each other. I appreciate Mary's dream that we're going to keep this estate running while other estates have closed. But, at the end of the day, we see the writing on the wall everywhere else. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
Maybe
what
Tom
they
and Mary
choose
are going to go into the car business together.
Right?
Right, yeah. What else? Anything? Is that...
I feel like there was
Oh,
something,
because we got even a Dr. Clarkson admission that no, I probably am upset about losing power. You're probably right. So that fight seems over. So,
Yeah.
but we got to get she's got to stick it out until her son is saved in surgery.
And of course, Anna and going to London.
Oh yeah, Anna. So she's pregnant and Bates figured it out.
So sweet.
Yeah,
It's about time.
It's about time. I mean, we can't, and that's good because I thought she might die now, but she can't die in childbirth for the same reason that British Danny Sullivan can't die in a car wreck.
No,
like
we can't have repeat.
You can't repeat tragic modes of death.
This isn't Game of Thrones.
Right.
This isn't George R.R. Martin. Trust me. I'm just excited, and I thought, because one of the things I haven't really enjoyed is how Anna and Bates. Well, basically how Anna doesn't tell Bates things. I'm just kind of like, come on, Anna, just be a little bit more open and honest. So I am kind of glad Bates figured it out, and he thought it was the worst, and she's like, no. And that was such a joyous scene, a nice moment between them, and I'm glad they have that out in the open, and I hope we can kind of like let her enjoy this.
Yeah,
let them be happy. That's what I want.
I was, maybe it's because I was deliriously tired, but I kept thinking, I really want the Carson sex scene. Like, how did it go? I mean,
Right?
how do you not have sex until you're 60 and then seduce somebody?
At least get the Pat Moore and Mrs. Carson talking about it. Like, I just want them gossiping about it. That's all.
Just a little like, do you kiss her neck? Does she? I don't know. I was thinking about positions. It's terrible. I wanted not to.
I'm sure there's fan fiction out there about it.
It's great. I'll be sure to Google that. That'll be great. All right. Well, it was a good episode, right? Yeah.
More to come.
Yeah, more to come as we continue with the final season of Downton Abbey. Thanks, everybody.